Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our whole person health webinar this morning. Thank you all for joining us. Just a quick note that this session will be recorded, and we're so glad you're here. So let me just lay out a little bit of the format for you today. And actually, before we get started, I should introduce myself. My name is Megan Sturrett. I'm one of the managing partners here at Revel Private Wealth. And in just a minute, I will introduce our very special guest speaker. But before that, what the layout for today is I'm just going to do a little bit of a brief introduction and welcome to this workshop. And then I'm going to turn it over to Teresa Nutt, who's going to give us the presentation today. But after that, we are going to open it up for questions and answers. So please, as you're listening to the presentation, or if you have any thoughts, just jot them down so you don't forget, and we'll be sure to take those questions at the end. Excuse me, I'm fighting a little bit of a bug. So we're going to have Teresa speak for about 25 or 30 minutes, giving us plenty of time. And I would assume we'd wrap up no later than 10:45. So thank you all for being here with us. Most of you know that here at Revel Private Wealth, we are a financial planning and investment management firm. Right. So what are we doing talking about whole health wealth? Most people don't realize that financial stress is one of the major drivers of mental health issues. I love statistics. 45% of Americans say that financial stress has led to anxiety and depression for them or other mental health disorders. Also, over 50% of people say they've had physical symptoms of financial stress, whether it's poor sleep or just the ability to enjoy life when they're worried about money. So here at Revel, we have taken an approach of sort of a whole person health as well, because of that health wealth connection. That financial stress impacts so much of what people, how people feel and how people behave. And so what we like to do is bring our clients and the community more information about being the best version of themselves, feeling the healthiest that they can be. And so many women, and maybe there's some men on the call today, but so many women we hear from just don't feel as good as they think they could be. They may not be suffering from any one specific diagnosis, but just say, I don't feel like I'm the best version of me, and how do I do that? So that is where our guest speaker today, Teresa Nutt, comes in. We are so fortunate to have her here with us. She is the Administrative Director of Education at the Susan Samueli Integrative Health Institute. I think she has at least 5 acronyms behind her name. I'll let you tell them what all of those letters mean. But she is a nationally recognized leader in integrative health and wellness coaching. She's here today to talk to us about supporting our overall well-being, nutrition, sleep, stress, but probably the most important thing is some actionable steps that we can take to be better versions of ourselves. And so thank you again for joining us. And Teresa, thank you for being with us. It really is a treat to have you here with us today. So I'm going to let you take it from here.
Well, Megan, thank you for that beautiful introduction. And yes, I have many acronyms after my name, but largely I've been a nurse for 30 years. I've been in healthcare 35 years and a health and wellness coach 23 years. So that's a little about my background. And I've been a leader in healthcare. And as people mentioned, I really am passionate about innovating healthcare because largely it has been about taking care of people when they're already sick versus helping them live full, optimal lives, which is why I love my work at the Institute so much at UC Irvine in the Samueli Institute. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and get my PowerPoint up for everyone. I just want to make sure it looks good. Megan, can you give me a thumbs up if it looks right? Thank you so much. Perfect. Great. So welcome, everyone. I want to talk about whole person health. And really, the thing about whole person health is a lot of healthcare and a lot of training and a lot of things, which I think this is where Revel Wealth and our health programs really marry, is we're about tailoring things. It's not a one size fits all in healthcare. And oftentimes that's what you see when you go see your providers. And at the Institute, we know that everyone is different and we want to have healthcare and tips for you so that you can personalize your health and feel more. So we'll look at our clinical model and really those key principles of whole person care and easy to implement lifestyle changes. Part of our Women's Wellness Day, Megan and I were just at over the weekend, was all about those little easy to implement lifestyle changes. And Megan, thank you for noting, as a health coach who listens to people every single Wednesday, one of the biggest stressors seems to be financial, and it influences so much of health. And so I think all of this, the reason we look at the whole person is whether it's financial or something in your health that is stretching you financially, it all goes together. It's not separate topics. So we want to talk about how to support optimal health for you. And we want you to walk away with, I'm a health coach, don't forget, some things you can do. So we're going to leave you with some easy to implement action steps. All right, so I want to start. I believe in reflection questions, and I would love you to, whether you think about it yourself or, write in the Q&A or something, just think about it. What contributes to your sense of well-being? This is sort of like what gives you energy, what gives you a lift. Maybe it's people, maybe it's certain activities, maybe it's certain things. So what contributes to your sense of well-being? Let's take a moment and reflect together. And I'm going to throw some out. And Megan, if you want to unmute and throw some out, would love it. But one of the things, I'm from a huge family. I'm one of 8 children. So part of what contributes to my sense of well-being is having my big, loving family. That's just part of it for me. Megan, what would you say?
Well, I was just going to say the first thing that I thought about was my children. And and sometimes, that saying you're only as happy as your least happy child, is where they are, and that sense of well-being is when they're well, when they're good, I feel good. I also thought about pickleball. I feel like pickleball makes me happy too. So,
I love that. Thanks for that pickleball. And yes, I go line dancing. I'm not a country music person, but my dear friend Lori is. And so the three of us girls, Michelle, Lori, and I, take line dancing lessons at the community center. And we laugh and we move, and it's a
oh, I
joy.
love it.
It's a joy. So I understand the pickleball. There's a lot of good in that. Same
Yes,
kind of
you're
thing.
you're moving, and yeah, and you're not in your head. You know what I mean? You're
Right.
in the moment.
And it's social too, right? Like there's a
Yes.
component that's not just you running alone, which I also do, but it's that community part. So thank you for sharing a couple
You're
of
welcome.
examples. Yeah. And I hope others have had a moment to really catch up with themselves and think about what contributes to their sense of well-being. All right. So let's dive in and take a look at what we call at our institute the self-empowered health wheel. We love this because a lot of healthcare, if you think about it historically, and again, I've been in healthcare maybe too long at this point, and yet I've seen some shifts in a positive direction from I'm going to tell you, I am the expert, I'm going to tell you what to do. You go home and be healthy and well. And 99% of the time, we are not in a doctor's office or a therapist's office or somewhere else. So, really, ultimately, health needs to come from a place inside of us where we are empowered and we're making choices in our lifestyle. And when we think about this wheel, we look at a number of things, environment, and that is a number of things. So we'll talk about this in detail. But environment, food and nutrition, exercise and movement, social connection, sleep and rest, mind and soul, which might also be like spirit, mind and spirit. So we're looking at a number of things, and you can see the outside ring, which is, we need you to take care of your prevention and treatment. We're not saying do this outside of conventional medicine. We're saying do it in partnership with physical health, mental and emotional health, and your whole person lifestyle. So it's really, I really love this model that's been created by a focus group from within the Institute. I think it's very representative of what we want to talk about today. All right. So when we think of whole person health, I want to give a definition because I think a lot of people talk about this, and the assumption is everybody knows exactly what we mean. which may or may not be true for you. So let's all get on the same page together. There are multiple factors that contribute to either health or disease. Some of them are biological, some are behavioral, some are social, and some are environmental. And we think about in whole person health the mind, body, and spirit. I can't tell you, and I feel like the pandemic really taught me at a deeper level how important the spirit is for a person, meaning, purpose, connection, etc. When that gets dinged, it can be really hard for people. And we saw that during the pandemic, and there's a lot of research coming out as a result of that. And ultimately, in whole person care, we're looking at restoring health and promoting resilience. Life will never be, I haven't met anyone yet, and maybe Megan, it's true for you, but I highly doubt it, is that life is not going to be a bunch of roses for people day in and day out, year after year. That's just not reality. And so we both want to restore health, but also create resilience in our body, mind, and spirit, because sometimes we have to respond to the impossible and our ability to do that either makes us feel more well being or less. And so that's really a critical piece of it. And the last part of whole person health is we combine the best of every kind of medicine. And when I say that, it's like we're not doing, we do everything in our clinic from massage therapy, health coaching, physical therapy that's integrative. We have cardiac rehab, et cetera. So we have a lot of ancillary acupuncture treatments, these what used to be called complementary therapies, but they're evidence informed. We combine that with conventional medicine, and I would also add whatever contributes to that person's sense of well-being, which can depend on their cultural background, what, their family of origin and how they grew up, etc. And we do all of this so that we have targeted and comprehensive care for people. And that's really what this presentation is about today. So that's a little just giving you the definition. So when we also look at whole person health, a little bit of it is about how we show up as clinicians. So I have been obviously in very traditional health and wellness roles as a bedside nurse and as a hospice nurse and everything else. But what I love about whole person care is that therapeutic relationship, how we show up genuinely with an open heart, a curious mind, etc., really sets the foundation for care, and people feel heard in ways they haven't been heard by other clinicians they work with, and that's really important to us. We do a very comprehensive assessment. Even in my coaching office, I do what I call a lifestyle 360 with people. Like, let's really understand what's going on in your lifestyle because we want to understand the fullness of the imbalances that are contributing to changes in health and well-being. And again, evidence-informed, natural products, lifestyle changes, integrative modalities, conventional medicine, we bring it all to the table. And some people need a combination of all of the above or just parts of it. And we're all about all of that. So there are some key lifestyle choices I want to talk through with you in just a bit of detail. Number one, eat to meet the deeper needs of your body. Number two, move to manage your mood and improve your sense of well-being. Exercise, this just came out in the last year, and I think it's long overdue. It is now the number one treatment for anxiety and depression. We're just recognizing it's better than any medication. So when you talk about managing your sense of well-being, movement is so critical. And we have a lifestyle, unfortunately, where screen time is a real challenge and it makes it hard for people to prioritize movement. So we'll come back to that.
And I was going
Connect
to
to me.
say, Teresa, if you
Oh,
don't mind,
Megan,
I was going to
please.
add, yes, I was going to add one thing from this wellness weekend that we just attended is the difference between movement and exercise is that hit me of, especially as we get older and we're busy, is thinking of actually exercising when you set that time to go to the class or go for the run or do something versus just moving throughout your day, right? Parking further from the front door, taking the stairs instead of the elevator. When you're at the grocery store going up and down the aisles, right? all of it counts. And so I like to think of it that way when there's days when, I know I don't exercise as much as I should, but I do like to think I try to move, right? Whether you're just trying to keep up with your life, head to your car. So just, if that helps, think of it as movement sometimes versus exercise too.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah, that was on my list, so thanks for that great precursor. I love that. You're on it. All right. The other things we'll talk about building an environment that is a refuge, and your whole house doesn't have to be clean, by the way. Just want to make sure we don't put perfection in the equation. Create conditions that promote rest and restoration. The sleep part is so critical in our culture that now can be plugged in and tuned in all the time. It's really important to prioritize good sleep. Lean into what brings you joy. Boy, adulting is a drag sometimes, and we need to lean into joy. Spend time in mindfulness or meditation. We need time for our mind to get to unplug and really just have some quiet. And then stay connected and reach out for support. Said differently, we're going to talk about social connection because that's really critical. So let's do them one by one here. So when we look at nutrition, I wanted to give you some quick and easy things you can do. Number one, plant-forward diets, no matter where you look, are the most helpful to our body. They're high in fiber, they're high in nutrients, and by the way, all those crunchy vegetables or however you eat them lightly cooked help keep your cortisol levels regulated. So really important. The other thing, your omega-3s, so things like eggs, your fatty fishes, really help keep that cortisol level regulated. So some food things that really matter, not just for your body's nutrients, but beyond. I think the other is we are often so busy that we don't plan ahead and meal prep enough. And you can do it so many ways. I'm going to throw out a couple of quick ones. Number one is that people get the coupons for the week and you can make your meals based on what's on sale. Or some people do themes. So Tuesday's always Mexican, Wednesday's always Italian, and that way you're not re-envisioning it every single week. So simplifying it, planning ahead, having a shopping day, maybe a chopping day. Some people really love having a shopping day and a chopping day so that the meal prepping and planning doesn't take so much time when you're in the middle of your busy work week. The last part, so many of us eat in a hurry. And I grew up, I don't know about you, Megan, but I grew up in a time when, even with all 10 of us, we sat around a family dinner and ate at a table and really connected with each other. And so we've kind of lost that eating slowly and mindfully, but that really does make a difference in your digestion and how you actually get the nutrients from your food. So, Megan, I just want to invite you in here.
Yeah, no, we did the same thing. I had a family of six, and that was one of the things we always did was sit down at the table and connect, which, it is harder to do now than I think it was then. It made me think of something. One time we did a mindful eating through the Institute, and to really, feel the texture, right? And the sensations when you're eating. And there was some statistic, again, I said I love statistics, is how many times you're supposed to chew a bite. Do you know what that is? Because I remember
It's
thinking it
like
was
27.
okay. Crazy, right? I mean, I
I
think I think
know.
sometimes I wonder if I chew at all. I'm like, did I even chew or did I just swallow it whole? So, okay, 27 bites. So, I encourage you next time you're eating is to just pause and think, what am I eating? What am I tasting? And see how many bites on average you have.
And thanks for that, Megan. And I agree. Really, it is, being mindful doesn't have to be a big thing, but really noticing the smell, the texture, the taste as you're biting, and then actually chewing it a little longer than our normal 3 bites and then down the hatch, right? Yeah. And the last thing I want to point out about nutrition is we all have our go-to foods that we need to soothe and comfort when we're really stretched. And there's nothing terribly wrong with that. But when we overuse them, what it does is it creates more stress in the chemistry of our body. So having substitutes, and I'll give you just a couple from my practice and from my own life. I love chocolate. I'll just admit it, that is my thing. But I found this fantastic brand of tea called Teeccino. It's Teeccino. And they have a dark chocolate tea, and they also have a chocolate mint. And it is like chocolate in a cup. It has got some mushrooms in it, so they're adaptogens. So I'm getting adaptogens, I'm getting probiotic, and it tastes like dessert. So when I'm really feeling stretched, I do the Ticino because then I don't eat 25 pieces of chocolate because there's never enough when I'm really feeling stretched. And another, this came from a patient. She was a potato chip person, loved the salt and the crunch. And what she found was if she replaced that with pistachios that are lightly salted, it gave her the crunch, but also gave her some protein, and she didn't eat the whole bag. And so just some ideas for, boy, nutrition can be one place where we very quickly fall off the wagon and make it harder on our nervous system and our body. So find some substitutes. That's another quick and easy way you can do that work. All right, so we talked about movement, and thank you, Megan, for your great information. So this is a combination of exercise and moving throughout your day. To your point, Megan, we need to not be sitting in front of our computer hour after hour, and I'm as guilty as many. I work 12 and 14-hour days in front of my computer sometimes, and I go, when is the last time I got up? Well, one of the best things you can do is drink your water because then you have to get up and go do the thing, right? So that is helpful. But any kind of movement, and Megan mentioned some parking further away, taking the stairs, even just getting up. We used to do water cooler things at work, right? Walk to someone's desk. So if you're working from home or working remote or not with your team or not near them, just even getting up and walking down the hallway and coming back, every hour we should really be moving and not sitting endlessly. And you can also do things like wall push-ups, which I do, air squats, right? Things that just are a little more strength-based to help keep your body toned, because sitting is hard in a number of ways. But there are a few other things about movement that I wanted to point out. Number one, the best activity for you is the one you're going to enjoy and you're going to do. And some of the ways to find that is it often involves socialization and other things. So think about what else would matter for you in movement. And particularly if you're really stressed, group activities tend to be the best way to de-stress. You were mentioning pickleball. Megan and I was talking about line dancing with my girlfriends, and we do. We come after work sometimes and we're just like, yeah. And by the end, we're laughing and we're, tripping on ourselves, but who cares? We're dancing to the music. So making it enjoyable has some added benefits from a stress management perspective when you think about movement. So on top of basic activity and exercise, think about that. The other is if you're trying to get your stress level down, cardio activity is the very best because it will, after 20 minutes, promote the relaxation response. So whether that's a walk, some dancing, some swimming, whatever it is, 20 minutes of that will help you get into the parasympathetic or relaxation response. So it's 20 minutes. You got to do it 20 minutes to really get the full effect. And then just as a general guideline for exercise, try and get 150 minutes of moderate intensity, whether that's walking or dancing or some kind of movement like even you were saying, Megan. It can add up. It doesn't have to be all at once 30 minutes a day. It could be 10 minutes. One of the new things in research is really if we eat and then do a 5 to 10 minute walk after we eat, that's really great for our body. So even doing it broken up throughout your day. Megan, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say one thing that I heard a few weeks ago and then I heard again this weekend, which tells me I'm on the right track, is habit stacking. When they were
Yes.
saying like, when you brush your teeth, you also do, 10 push-ups against the sink. You know what I mean? Or, when you do this, you do that and sort of pair things together throughout the day just in short spurts. Like that spoke to me because I don't often have large chunks of time. So
Right.
that I just wanted to offer that as a little tip that I
Yeah,
learned.
thanks, Megan. Great. Habit stacking. We also call it exercise snacks. Isn't that a fun term? But short little bursts of it instead of, like you said, for some of us, 30 minutes is hard to come by based on what we're juggling. And then, if you can, I know it's like a lot, but strength training is so critical for bone health and muscle strength and metabolism and so many things. So, getting in some strength training of your whole body is really critical. And I would say this last part, start where you are. So we don't, if you haven't been doing it, don't try to do it all at once, but start where you are and build from there. So we had a speaker, JJ Virgin, is a very well-known exercise physiologist who also does nutrition, but she was talking about when she starts with people, it's twice a week. And it's just, like maybe you just do wall push-ups so that you're kind of doing all of your arms and then you do some air squats. So it's full body, but it doesn't have to be the big gym, a bunch of heavy weights. Start where you are and build from there. But ultimately, the best results from research say 3 times a week strength training for the whole body are really helpful. And back to people with short time, that's me. I have a 15-minute routine I do every day, 6 days a week, and it takes care of that in smaller chunks because that's what I can pull off. So there are ways to break it up as well. All right. Meaning and purpose is one of my favorite topics. And when you look at the research, it improves your physical health, your mental health, your relational health, like all the healths. It improves everything. So having a sense of what brings you meaning and purpose, by the way, it does not have to be, I think a lot of people think, oh, it has to be my job, or it can be how you advocate for a cause that matters to you. It can be how you raise your children. It can be anything, but it creates that spark in you that says, this matters to me and I'm making space for it in my life. That's what meaning and purpose is. So I think sometimes people overwhelm themselves like, "Oh, I have to find my meaning and purpose." Like, okay, you don't really have to find it, you feel it, and you do things that nurture it. That's it. But when you look at the research, the benefits are huge, supports resilience, longevity, and sense of well-being builds your feelings of joy, optimism, hope, happiness, satisfaction, right? Like all the goodness comes from having a sense of meaning and purpose. And it also, by the way, bonus, it increases the likelihood that people will engage in a healthy lifestyle. Just does. And we sleep better, by the way, if we have a sense of meaning and purpose. So lots of benefits. So this is, I feel, often overlooked in healthcare. It's one of the first things I tackle as a health coach, because if someone is struggling here, it can often influence a lot of what's going on in their health. Megan, anything you want to add before I keep going? Just want to invite your voice.
No, thank you. I think you said that so well, and I do agree with you that this tends to be overlooked. And even in the financial conversations we have is sometimes people struggle with that of, when we talk about your goals, right? With always when we do all of our planning and when people are like goals and they really have to think, everybody wants to retire comfortably, but then what's after that, right? What else do you want to, do you want to be, is it leaving a legacy? What do you want that legacy to be? What do you want to be known for? What do you want to, and those are it's a very easy question, but a very difficult sometimes answer to come up with. So I just agree with you that these are really big conversations and they're really important to your overall health and well-being and financial health too.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that, Megan. I figured you must talk about it in your work because you're so whole person oriented. Thank you. All right, so environments, a few things. Your environment's really your mind a little bit, right? You have an environment inside your mind, you have it in your home, your office, etc. It's the people you spend time with. So environments are a lot of layers, but I want to talk about a few simple things you can do to help with your environment. And one is simplify and clear clutter. Now, I'm not saying you have to have your whole house clean. Many of us cohabitate with others. So the way to do that is whenever you can, another quick habit. This is a James Clear, by the way, if you've not read his book, Atomic Habits, highly recommend. It's such a simple book, but it really talks about how to sort of make your lifestyle more efficient and habit stack and do other things. But he has the 1 minute, like in the morning after brushing teeth, just like 1 minute of just clearing one space and just like having that be part of your kind of setting up for the day. So having little habits that help you keep it as, cleared from clutter as possible. But the other thing I like to encourage people to do, and the reason I chose this picture for the slide, is find refuge spaces Places where maybe your whole house is in chaos because your kids are in sports, you've been working long days, who knows what it is going on in your life. But you've got a corner where there's something really beautiful, and you can just go over there and light the candle or take a deeper breath. But it is a place where you can let your mind rest, even if chaos is all around you. I'm looking at behind you, Megan, you've got some beautiful flowers and some things that could be that space for you if, the rest of your house were in chaos. So that,
I'm
um,
laughing because I'm doing this webinar from home today, and I did have to find my space because the first space I chose there was a lot of stuff behind it. So I had to keep orienting my computer until you saw until you saw this behind me.
perfect. So you already have a refuge space. It's right behind you. I love that. Yeah, and one of the other things you can do in your environment is make healthier choices easier to make. In other words, those snacks that when you're really tired are going to be calling your name. Put them up higher so you got to work harder to get at them. Have fruits and vegetables, back to people who like to chop and prep on the weekend. I have a lot of patients who will chop up some fruits and vegetables and have them in containers in the fridge so they're just ready to go. And that's food as one, option, but it could be a lot of things. Gym bag. I'm a runner. When I used to go to the gym to run, I would have my gym bag at the foot of my bed. So it was like roll out of bed, grab my gym bag, and just go first thing. So whatever it is, you want to make it easier to make those choices. If we have to think a lot and gather our supplies and gather our materials, guess what? Our motivation goes down by the second. So we want to make it easy. You want to do things that promote sleep, and we have a slide dedicated to that, so I'll hold off on that. And the hardest thing, perhaps, is this last one. Think about how many unnecessary appointments, connections, and activity we engage in and day out, week in and week out. And even eliminating one thing can clear up headspace and time space and connection space that might be really important for you. So it's this invitation to pay attention to where we leak our time and energy, because that can be a really big way that we quickly are not using our environment to our advantage. All right, so sleep. I bet a lot of you have heard of sleep hygiene, but let's just talk through some key high things on the list. Number one of the downsides, and I feel like the pandemic made this just worse for everyone, screen time from dusk till dawn now is just a thing. It became a thing and it is a thing. But in the past, people had more routines, right? They would go to work, so you get up and get ready, and then you go to work and you come home and you had more routine. So having a routine not only for bedtime, but throughout your day helps your nervous system feel safe in the world, by the way. So just want to point that out. So creating routines, not just for sleep. But then also in the evening, a couple hours before you're going to go to bed, you should be cueing your body and your mind. Hey, we're starting to unwind. So for me, back to I'm a tea person, that sometimes is when that cup of chocolate liquid love is like, yeah, I'm going to have my tea at 8 p.m. because I want to be in bed ready for sleep at 10. Other people put their pajamas on. They do something as a family to kind of cue up, okay, we're starting the unwind. So just thinking about what can I do to start the unwind a couple hours before I'm actually ready to go to bed. Then in your bedroom where you sleep, having comfortable materials and conditions. Our body likes to be cooler at night. So if you turn down your um, heat, not that you really run a lot of heat here, but nonetheless, if you want to have cooler temperatures in the evening, that's best. Having comfortable materials that your body likes, scratchy sheets don't work well. Um, Eliminating electronic devices as much as possible. I know people tend to scroll in bed, and that is really, in the end, not the best. Although I understand so many people say to me, but that's my time. I get it. But have a time limit because we often can scroll for hours, and then that's actually making it harder to rest. And then think about ways to calm your mind and body, some deep breaths, some stretching. I have a lot of people who do just like 5 minutes of yoga before going to bed. It just lets the body kind of unwind all the way. And then for most people, this isn't like 95%, avoiding intense exercise or food 2 hours before bed is highly recommended. Otherwise, our body is working hard when it goes to bed, and our mind might not be able to rest because our body's revved up. So that's the last part. All right, Megan, anything you're doing in your sleep routine or hygiene that you want to highlight for people?
Um, I struggle with sleep. So and these are all the things that I sort of intuitively know. But I do try to, put my pajamas on. I try to do a little bit of reading before bed. I try to
Right.
stay off my devices. Um, but but yeah, just I think trying to consistently do those things. Also, going to bed at the same time. I tend to be a little bit all over the place, which I don't think helps me. That's the routine you're talking about. So no, I think these are all really solid things, and they always seem easy, a little bit easier than actually doing them all.
Right. Easy, not always simple to implement. Yes. Great. Thanks for that. All right. And then joy. Just, with joy, how can you do it wrong? I guess that's just what I'm going to say out loud. You can't do it wrong, but make time for it. Look for the moments that light you up and really notice them when they happen. Choose time for play, social connection, self-expression. I'm an artist, so I'm a singer, I'm an artist, whatever. I have to make time for it because I could adult all the time. And that's really this last one, research really shows that being productive all the time actually destroys well-being. We need different kinds of rest and restoration. Joy is one of them. And Megan, you mentioned reading, even just listening to podcasts that uplift you or reading a book that is uplifting. It could be fiction. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying it has to be, the meaning of life, but it just brings you joy in your heart. And that's what we're really looking for. This is so critical. And we, again, often overlook it, but it's really important. And I feel like Women's Wellness Day had some joy in it, didn't it, Megan? It was for both of us demanding, but there was also joy. All right, and then some of the last two pieces here, moments to connect with yourself. The reason we talk about mindfulness and meditation is we are often other focused or, scanning our environment. What do I need to pay attention to? So, mindfulness in its most simple form is about coming home to ourselves and saying, how am I doing? What am I needing? There is no one right strategy. For some people, they do it while they exercise. So, mindfulness does not have to be sitting quietly with your hands in the meditation pose. It can be a lot of things. But doing it short periods, a deep breath every hour, I personally start my day with 5 minutes of yoga because I breathe and I wake up and I stretch and then I go for my run. But also building self-compassion, that kindness toward ourselves, which we sometimes don't have. There's so many apps. Some are free, some cost a little money, but they have all kinds of activities you can do that don't require you to sit in meditation pose, but have time to reconnect with yourself. It lets your nervous system get off the hot seat for a minute and it helps you get back in touch with yourself, which is really, really important. Megan, do you do anything in particular to reset your mind? Because you work hard.
Um, I have started doing more stretching. Just because I've almost out of necessity because I had something going on with my hip and something going on with my knee and so I've started to do a little more daily stretching, but I find when I'm doing that, I'm slowing down, I am breathing deeper, and so it's almost like being a little bit more aware of my breathing, doing some stretching. It really does soothe me and calm me down. So that's sort of a newer thing that seems to be helpful.
Great. Thanks for that. I love that.
Sure.
And then the last is social connection. So really, there's so much research, and I won't read all the benefits, but you can see them. There's so many benefits to being connected to others, and we're all different. I'm an introvert. You wouldn't know it because I grew up in such a big family, but I'm an introvert, so I need time by myself, but I really need connection with other people. And you can see all the benefits here. But the thing is, engage in diverse social connections. Sometimes we need bigger groups, sometimes we need big events, sometimes we need something smaller. And quantity and quality matter a lot. So for some of us, we're going to need bigger groups of people. More extroverted people tend to be that way. For more introverted, a couple of small key friends really works the best, and somewhere in between. So figure out what works best for you, But one of the things we see over and over again as it relates to health is it tends to be that when people are stretched, the first thing they do is decrease social connections. And that's actually more dangerous, by the way, than smoking cigarettes. They're finding out just from a health perspective, social isolation is really dangerous. So find ways to stay connected, even if it's to one person. That's really, really critical. And I want to leave time for questions. So I'm going to end with a question for you. What is one action you can take today? So I want you to think about that as I quickly share a few things about our clinic. What is one easy to implement? This doesn't have to be something big. What is one easy to implement action for you? So real quick, just about our clinic, to give you a little more information, we have a number of clinicians trained, so many physicians, functional medicine doctors, also lifestyle medicine doctors, naturopathic medicine. So a lot of high quality clinicians, a lot of modalities like massage, acupuncture, health and wellness coaching, physical therapy, registered dietitians. We even have an integrative pharmacist. And then we have classes that are available like cooking, Tai Chi, mindfulness, and self-compassion. We also have group medical visits for different conditions, weight management programs, concierge care for people who are wanting more personalized, individualized care with a high-touch team, and then executive health and maternal child health specialty programming. And the last thing I want to make sure you know, and I think it's in the resources, is we have a learning library with recipes, mindfulness techniques, aromatherapy strategies that are all free and available to the public. So we just want to make sure you know that we're available to people. So I want to end there and see, Megan, if there's anything you want to say before we take questions.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm sure I speak for all of us, even just the pace of your speech and the tone of your voice, I feel a little bit more relaxed just listening to you. I feel like I did something good, just in being here and showing up. So, thank you for all of this wonderful information you shared. And I think you made it simple to understand and easy enough to say, okay, how can I digest this information and take, like you said, what's one or two things I could do? I did want to mention sort of my connection with the Institute. I was just going to say about 15 years ago, I was asked to sponsor Women's Wellness Day. So this institute that Teresa works for and is talking about puts on a day every year all about women's health and wellness. And there's a few men there too. And I was asked to sponsor it. And I did. And so I showed up for the first time and was blown away. Can you imagine? Just we had 40, 30 minutes of Teresa. Imagine a day of information like this where you are just supported. An amazing community. You're learning so much. You're eating delicious food. There's shopping. I mean, it's pretty fantastic day. And after that, I ended up sitting on the planning committee. I ended up chairing the event and have served for about a decade. That's how much I believe and love what this institute stands for. I'm now on the advisory board for the institute and serve as the MC for the event. So I just want to tell you, as just a person, just a regular person who attended, it sucked me in. And as I mentioned to everyone this weekend, I am by no means the vision of health, but you can imagine 15 years taking one or two things here and there. I am better than I was, right? I still can improve. I learned so much from Teresa today and just reiterated things or I know I need to be doing. But I would encourage you, just little changes can make a big impact. So why don't we do this? Teresa, I don't know if you want to, oh, okay, perfect. Would anybody like to ask a question of Teresa or even share maybe one thing that they learned or they're taking with them from this workshop? And David, I don't know if you have everybody on mute or if everybody can unmute themselves or not. Okay.
So they can't unmute, but if they raise their hands, then we can unmute them to speak one at a time.
Okay. Perfect. So if you have a question or a comment you want to share, you can raise your hand. which I believe on the bottom of your toolbar, there is is that under the React icon, David, as far as how they raise their hand?
Correct.
Okay. So I realize after COVID, there's been a lot of video calls, but if you're familiar or it's a new platform, when you scroll down on your screen, you can see there's a React icon and you can raise your hand. So does anybody have a comment or a question to share? I can't see everybody on my screen. Um, This is what I love when the speaker answers every question and covers everything. It's the perfect presentation. Um, um, I was gonna just I'll say something and when anyone's thinking, I think one of the biggest things that I could do that would make the biggest changes with my diet. And you talk about eating the rainbow and how important plant and vegetables are. Any any tips? I know you said meal planning and I love shopping day and chopping day. Any other tips you might have that would be helpful?
Yeah, for eating in particular. So I think I think some of what I would say that might be helpful, I have three key things I usually tell people, and I think about vegetables, let's start there, is even just trying one new vegetable a week. Again, it's like, how small can I make it? So adding in one new vegetable, because most of us get in a rut, right? We eat the same sort of foods week in and week out. So trying something new, and there's, again, we have our recipes on our library, but also, the other thing is you can get a farm box, and I'm a farm box person because it's a cheaper way to get my organic produce. But they often will give you seasonal things, and then when you get that, you can try to learn how to make something new. So again, I think sometimes we imagine we have to change everything about how we do vegetables or how we eat. One small thing a week, trying one new recipe a week. That's a little different. Or even just substituting. Let's say you have a meal you really love as a family, but you want to add a salad to it or add a vegetable soup to it to get a little more vegetables in. So I think it's one small thing a week is probably my biggest advice as it relates to all of that.
Okay. That's helpful. Yeah, I do better some days than other days, but yes, no, that's a good tip. I'm gonna ask one more time just in case anybody mustered up the courage to ask Teresa, who's very approachable and very kind, I promise you. Um,
Mhm.
if you have any other thoughts or questions that you would like to share.
I do.
Okay, Barbara.
I do.
Yes. Go
Yes.
ahead.
I was at Women's Wellness over the weekend, and one of the things that I have practiced is putting the pencil in my mouth and making
Mm.
myself smile. And when I'm in traffic, actually coming home through the traffic, it was horrible Friday afternoon traffic. So I had a pen and I put it in my mouth, and I knew I was smiling as I was going through it. And it does get your mind off of it and releases some of the stress. Like they were saying, they train flight attendants to do that, to learn how to keep the perfect smile. Whether or not you're sincere with it, it doesn't matter apparently. The muscles know that you're smiling, and your eyes do too. And the other thing about the vegetables, and the weak moments or the moments of hunger around 4 o'clock, I always keep hard boiled eggs and celery sticks, because carrots I'm not too fond of. But those two things save me so many times. They're good for you, and they work. If you keep them available in your refrigerator, you go to it. Like you said, if you have to hard boil some eggs in the meantime, it doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I have to say.
No, thank you for sharing. Those are great tips. One of the things she was talking about is we learned about happiness this weekend and how it is sort of like the fake it till you make it. When you smile, and they were showing like, I need, I need hair like this. Look at how hairy I am. But that you really smiling with your whole face and your eyes and everything that can lift your mood, and how being happy and that positive nature, how much that can
Yeah.
impact your health, right? You can withstand more pain. The duration of a sickness can be reduced the happier you are, the more positive you are. And I just think that's really huge, right? And also what I love is they were saying, and smiling is free, right? So when you think
Right?
of from your financial advisor, you look at this and you're saying, what is something you can do to improve your mood, improve your health? Smile. Even like Barbara said, even if you don't want to smile, I mean, look, all right, look at how happy I am, right? So also, this is probably a really gross pen, but anyway, it is fun to think about. So that maybe is a great place to end. And so Teresa, thank you for your time. Thank you for your expertise. Thank you for those actionable ideas. And I would encourage you check out the Institute if that feels like there's a little bit of a draw. If you have any questions about the Institute, you can always reach out to me because I do know a little bit and can point you at least point you in the right direction. So hopefully you feel a little bit calmer, maybe a little bit more informed. And as always, if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you again, Teresa, and everybody have a really great week, and hope to see you all soon. All right. Thank you for being with us. Thanks, Teresa. Bye-bye.